Now, in a little while, I'm going to talk about the third form of memory that's influencing us. But before I talk about the third, I'll talk about the techniques we do in this work to help people to live a more fulfilled life where their needs will have been met, okay? That means that what we do in this work is not help to get things out, but how to get in what had been missing and how to get it in at the right age and the right kinship relationship. That means, in a way, we've got to go in a time machine so that we don't give the person what they needed in the present, they needed it in the past. So we have to get techniques of how to awaken what was missing in the past and how to make a new memory as if it had been satisfied in the past by the correct kinship relationship. Do you follow that? Am I clear so far? Okay. And how do we start this work? Knowing that present consciousness is a tapestry woven of threads of memory, that every single moment of the present is full of memory. If it wasn't full of memory, we would be making errors all the time. So what we do is we micro-track present consciousness, knowing that it's full of history. Micro-track means we're going to parse present consciousness. So when somebody begins the work, in this work, we don't say, or I don't say, what do you want to work on? I simply wait. I've built in my mind around them what I call a possibility sphere. I'm sure that Kate has talked about that. Juliet, I'm sorry, has talked about that. That means that I'm seeing the client and I made some sort of a bubble around the client, and that's going to be like a time machine at some point, but it's going to be empty of me, and it's going to be full of possibilities, so it's possible to become who you are. So a lot happens in just making that possibility sphere, and I'm going to micro-track their present consciousness. So I'm going to wait and see just what happens in that instant, okay? And whatever they talk about, they may start to speak. Maybe they say something about, my mother did this, or my father did that, or my daughter did this. And whatever they say, their face is going to show something about what they're feeling. And let's say they talked about, today is the anniversary of my mother's death, and I just can't stop crying. So if we then set out what we call a witness figure, as if there's a third person in the room, a hypothetical figure that's going to see the affect on the face, put a name on it, and put it in the context that the client is talking about. So the witness would say, I see how much grief you feel when you think about the death of your mother. And the client goes, yes, because that's the right word, grief, in the context, yes. And then they might say, oh, but I'll be crying the rest of my life. It'll never be over. And that'll be a thought. And then we'll have what we call a voice figure says, you'll be crying the rest of your life. It'll never be over. That's the beginning of micro-tracking. Now, when that person says, my mother did this, or I'm thinking about my mother, and they mention a name, the instant they mention the name, what do you think happens? They're going to see that figure in their mind. And years ago, we would then do what we call the historical scene, and that's what we used to do with Jenna years ago. The historical scene is to have somebody role play the mother, and then they're going to let the feelings, we thought feelings had to come out and do catharsis, but then they might feel all the old feelings again. And we now know neurologically, when you repeat history, it reinforces the history. So we don't focus on getting something expressed, or if it was miserable, we focus immediately on getting a new alternative history. But Now what we've got, instead of having somebody role play the mother, we've got all these little gadgets, stones and things, and we make a separate stage platform. What was the first platform we worked with? That's the platform of the here and now. The client is there on the here and now. I'm the therapist in the here and now. But we have a special relationship. I'm not going to be just interacting. I'm not going to bring my needs. I'm going to be there to support the client getting their needs, but I'm not going to be the healer. The healer is going to be done in the possibility sphere by someone role-playing an ideal figure at the right age and the right time. So that possibility sphere is going to move through time and space, and we've got to make sure. So it's clear that I'm not going to be the source of healing, but I'm going to be the supporter of the healing. That's the platform of the here and now. But we're going to make another platform, which is where we're going to put what I call placeholders. The person spoke about their mother, and I'm going to ask them to put an object, not to think they're seeing the mother in the room, but they're going to externalize all the associations about the mother, everything about the mother, and be there. So in a sense, we're externalizing their brain. That the pilot's going to look, rather than they're going to see the mother, oh mom, they're going to see all of their own associations about the mother, okay? And if they said, oh, my mother was always crying and wasn't there for me when I was in school or something, then I go for what I call an immediate reversal. I'll say, and I'll do like this, as if I'm putting into that possibility sphere space a new image, as if there was a mother. I say, if there was an ideal mother, she'd say, if I had been your ideal mother, I wouldn't have been crying all the time. I would have been there when you come home from school. They might go, oh my God, what a relief. They might believe it, okay? And little by little, if they believe it, we might then finally get a person in and we'll elaborate it all and they'll get experience.